Bruno Mars is coming to Chicago for his first tour in almost a decade. He just announced the Romantic Tour in support of his. Mars will perform at Soldier Field on May 16th. Tickets go on sale on Thursday. Now, Ford says it will be rolling out a level 3 driver assistance system in 2028. It will allow drivers to take their hands off the wheel, but also their eyes off the road. The technology will first be available on Ford's new electric vehicles, which start at about $30,000. Insiders say Ford could even use the technology to get into robo-taxi business. Tesla and Waymo are already using similar tech in their current fleets.
General Motors takes a hit worth billions of dollars after pulling back on its electric vehicle programs. The losses combined with a $1.6 billion charge disclosed in October, so they say they're going to take a huge hit here. The announcement is a reverse on GM's plans to ramp up EV production in accordance with regulations set by former President Joe Biden. They have since been overturned, though, by President Trump.
Good Day Chicago at 7 starts now.
Protests erupt in Minneapolis after the deadly shooting by a federal agent, while another shooting has Portland on edge.
The family of a missing Chicago public schools teacher is releasing new details about her disappearance.
And it's playoff eve for the Bears as they put in their final preparation ahead of tomorrow's big game.
And let's take you outside this morning. We are drying out after last night's torrential rain, but the cold air is moving back in.
All right, thanks for joining us at Good Day Chicago at 7 a.m. I'm Gabriela Primus in for Anthony Ponce.
I'm Natalie Bompke, and Mike Kaplan is here as well. And I thought we were going to have to start building that ark last night, loading up the animals, goodness. Mike. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it.
It came down so quickly, too. It was almost like a summertime event.
Yeah.
Now, you guys are all celebrating kind of, shades of orange there. What's the other color for the Bears? Navy blue. So that's what
there you go.
Yeah, I was searching for that.
You keep searching it. All right. You know why Gabriela's my favorite coworker today?
Why is that?
She picked up my coffee today.
Oh, that was nice.
You know what? Sometimes you got to
bless
treat
your
the
heart.
guy, right?
Give till it hurts. Give till it hurts. All right, good morning, everybody. One of the things is helping dry things out. The fact that it is very windy out there. Show you some of the gusts in a little bit. But definitely a little more wintry weather is on the way. Strong winds and falling temperatures today. Light snow tomorrow, mixing at times with rain. And then rain to light snow Tuesday night into Wednesday. So something we really haven't seen much of lately, at least some snow. 42 with a little light rain coming down at O'Hare now. We have a west-southwest wind blowing at 22 miles per hour. There are some stronger gusts. These are the current temperatures. It's dropped to 39 in the Rockford area, 45 at Gary, still clinging to 52 at Michigan City. But these winds mean business. Look at these numbers here. Gary and Valparaiso, 52 and 54 respectively. Kankakee up there, but farther west you go, winds are beginning to die down. So I think the worst of the winds are beginning to ease up, but expect a blustery day nevertheless. Let's see what kind of impact all that rain from last night has had on this morning's commute. Gabriela?
You know, Mike, now we're taking a look at Grant Park here, and luckily in the city, we're not really seeing any places where there's high standing water, but we were talking about the southwest suburbs. You know, Natalie was talking about over where she is in Riverside, and we do have a couple of new reports. One is in the Willow Springs area, Archer Avenue and 95th Street. There's a report of a tree down on the road. We're also seeing, you know, that high wind speed right now too, so that could partially play into things. And then in the Glenview area, so this is Crestwood Lane and Greenwood Road, reports of wires down on the road, and crews are there trying to figure that out. And then finally, we have a crash in Barrington. This is Route 59 in Lake Cook Road. Crews are on scene there, and it looks like it's partially blocking that intersection as well. Nothing happening necessarily on our expressways right now. I do want to give you a look at those drive times just real quick. 30 minutes, excuse me, on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. Same on the Eisenhower, just above that on the Stephenson, and just under 30 minutes on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn interchange.
And let's take a look at some of that video from last night, because it is eye-popping, bringing drivers to a halt here. This is video from Cicero and 31st. Cars were stuck in the high water. They had to be pushed out or towed. And then over at Cicero Avenue and 55th, high winds knocked down a traffic light, landing on a car, cracking the windshield. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. Also, a mess on the Dan Ryan. This is video on the southbound side at 31st. Water flooded the local lanes. Cars had to slowly make their way through.
You know, luckily we're seeing a lot of that recede this morning. Not a lot of reports on our expressways again. Now following a story that we've been kind of working on all week, we're learning new details from the family of a missing Chicago public schools teacher.
Today, volunteers are being called to the lakefront to search for her. And Roseanne is live now with the latest on that search. Roseanne.
Well, it's been an agonizing week for family and friends of Linda Brown. Her family says police found her car at 35th and Lake Park Avenue, along with the biggest clue yet, surveillance video showing her walking away from that car and never returning to it. So today's search is going to focus on this area here, one top priority spot, 31st Street Beach, the lakefront. But the search will cover both sides of Lakeshore Drive near the pedestrian bridge, Burnham Park, and here at the lakefront. The special education teacher from Healy Elementary in Bridgeport has been missing 6 days. Her husband said the two watched a movie Friday night and Saturday morning she was gone. He thought she was at her acupuncture appointment, but she never made it there and never came home. Her husband said while she has faced mental health challenges, she's never done this before, just taken off. Earlier this week, he pleaded for her to come home.
We watched the movie Friday night, and she went to bed before I did. I stayed up a little later. She was in the bed when I went to bed. When I woke up at 8:35, she was gone.
Did she take anything?
She didn't take anything. She took her purse, credit cards, but I'm thinking she was at acupuncture. If you're watching this, please come home. Your family is missing you. I'm missing you. Your friends are missing you. Linda, we need you to come home, baby. Seriously. Need you to come home.
Again, volunteers will search the lakefront. We're at 31st Street Beach today looking for any sign of Linda Brown, who's now been missing 6 days. Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
Roseanne, thanks for that report. Hopefully that family gets some answers. We'll check back in with you. Tensions keep growing in Minneapolis and around the country after an ICE agent shot and killed a 37-year-old mother of 3 this week.
Federal authorities and the Trump administration say the agent followed his training, adding his actions protected himself and others. But a number of local leaders are arguing against those claims. Connor Hansen live in Minneapolis for us this morning with the latest. Connor?
Natalie, Gabriella, we're standing on this very block where that fatal shooting happened on Wednesday. Earlier this morning, we saw police in tactical gear show up and clear out a bunch of debris and a makeshift barricade that protesters had set up on the street, saying it was a matter of safety keeping this lane open into the city. So far since then, we haven't seen any more protesters show up.
That woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation.
As the FBI continues its investigation, Vice President J.D. Vance says 37-year-old Renee Good's death is a tragedy of her own making, echoing the Department of Homeland Security, saying the ICE agent who shot and killed her Wednesday in Minneapolis did so out of self-defense. This comes after federal officials accuse Good of trying to slam her car into the officer.
That very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg.
But some local leaders in Minnesota say they don't fully buy the federal reports and are urging the thousands of ICE officers in the state to leave.
I will let those that want to push out false narratives, to slander or defame Renee Good, Minnesotans will tell her life story.
Vigils and calls for action are picking up steam nationwide.
Say her name! Renee Good!
Just one day after the incident in Minneapolis, the FBI was investigating another shooting Thursday in Portland, Oregon, where 2 people were injured. DHS says a Border Patrol agent also fired in self-defense after an alleged gang member tried to run them over before fleeing the scene.
And back here in Minnesota, Governor Tim Walz says he wants today to be a day of unity, calling on people here to observe a moment of silence later this morning. Natalie, Gabriella.
All right, Connor, big story. Thank you for that report.
Illinois officials are sounding off about the shooting in Minnesota. A Republican Congressman, Darren LaHood from Peoria, is a former state and federal prosecutor, and he's actually breaking from the Trump administration on his view of the shooting.
Let's wait and see on what the evidence is here, the facts that come out. Remember, in police shootings, there is a thorough investigation that goes on that's different from other crimes that are committed, and it should be that way. So I will wait and reserve judgment and see what the results of that are.
Governor Pritzker, meantime, says Chicagoans have seen this movie far too many times. He says federal agents, in his opinion, have been ill-equipped to perform these ramped-up deportations while maintaining public safety.
Policies and procedures that normally law enforcement follow, and that ICE, and we've seen it, we know before Minnesota, because we've lived it, that they don't follow. And they're clearly not trained. They're hiring a whole bunch of new people. They don't seem to care a whit about whether these people are prepared for a job like this, are psychologically prepared, or get the kind of training that's necessary.
A federal judge in Chicago issues a ruling that body camera videos and use of force reports from ICE agents during Operation Midway Blitz can be released to the public. However, those videos and documents are not available just yet. Both need to have portions redacted for privacy concerns before they can be made available to the public. Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino and federal agents are accused of using tear gas and violence during the operation. Judge Ellis has given the government 4 months to produce the estimated 500 body cam tapes and numerous use of force reports. Now, the Bears and Packers will meet in the playoffs tomorrow night for the third time in history.
Yes, and it's also their third meeting in just over 30 days. Several Packers players, well, they're already talking smack, guys. They've made it known that they wanted to play the Bears in the playoffs. Packers wide receiver Christian Watson said they have a chance to end the Bears season. Obviously, that means a lot to the Packers. But Bears wide receiver DJ Moore had this to say.
They always chirping. It's always like some talking going on somewhere, somehow, during the game, before the game, always. And, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the rivalry, it speaks for itself.
Okay, remember, you can watch the Packers and Bears game on Saturday at 7 p.m. right here on Fox Chicago. Our coverage begins with Bears Game Day Live at 12:30. And then stay with us on Fox Chicago because after the game, we've got full post-game coverage on your home with the Bears.
In an odd situation at the United Center here, the Bulls and Heat set to play last night, but the game was delayed due to condensation on the court. Crews were out there with mops and towels, couldn't get it under control. Eventually, the game was postponed. The weather outside led to humid conditions inside the building.
Looks like a lot of work.
Doesn't it? They got their workout for sure. Luckily, though, I also heard that if you had tickets to last night's game, because of the postponement, they'll be good for the rain date, I guess we could say. 7:12 now this morning. Let's take a live look outside, and it still looks soggy out there, Mike Kaplan.
Don't come knocking if our 2,800 camera's rocking. That is the story there. It's very, very windy out there. A few spots still seeing 50-mile-an-hour gusts, especially in northwest Indiana. The winds will gradually die down a little bit. They're not going to completely go away until tonight, but we've had quite a bit of rainfall, and there's still some rain falling. I'll show you the radar here in a little bit. This is a little more steady camera view here looking out over the park, and you can see it's cloudy out there, and there's just a little bit of rain. Here's the radar. Got it set in its most sensitive mode, and you can see a couple of sprinkles sneaking through the area. This goes all the way back towards the Rockford area. Maybe another 3 hours of this stuff crossing the area. Doesn't mean it's going to rain constantly for 3 hours, but you will see maybe a little sprinkle here this morning. Nothing like the heavy rain we had last night. These are the current temperatures. If you missed it, we hit 60 at midnight. Good for a record-tying high on this date. That record going back to 1880, one of the oldest ones in the book. 40s now, pretty much widespread. A few spots in the upper 30s, including Woodstock, DeKalb, and Rockford. Keep in mind, the normal high this time of year is freezing, so we're doing just fine from a temperature's perspective. It's just not as warm as it was. These are the wind gusts, and there you see a couple of 50-pluses here. Gary and Valparaiso, still close to 40 miles per hour at Aurora, O'Hare, and Midway. But the farther west you go, winds are beginning to die down, and that's going to be the trend today. The strongest winds are over the next couple of hours. Then we'll see those numbers improving. Today, we're going to max out at 60. It happened. The rest of the day, temperatures falling into the 40s. After a brief morning shower, we'll actually see some sunshine this afternoon. So it's going to be a little bit windy to really enjoy those sunshine and 40-degree temperatures. Back to you, Bob.
All right, thank you, Mike. Several Republican lawmakers go against their party leaders when it comes to extending Affordable Care Act subsidies. We'll have the details on that story coming up after this break.
.16, and we are learning more about another shooting involving federal agents, this one in Portland, Oregon.
Federal immigration officers shot 2 people in a vehicle. The Department of Homeland Security says an officer opened fire when an unauthorized Venezuelan migrant tried to run him over. Portland's mayor is calling for an investigation.
Record rainfall in the Chicago area leads to some flooding issues on the roads, and hopefully not in your basement. The drivers were left having to push their cars out of high water or get a tow. This is in Cicero. High winds also left behind damage for some areas.
And we're just a day away from playoff football at Soldier Field. We don't have to tell you that. The Bears host the Packers tomorrow night. It will be their 3rd meeting in just over 30 days. Kickoff is scheduled for 7:10. You can catch that game right here on Fox Chicago, your home of the Bears.
In a major vote, the U.S. House passes a bill to extend the Affordable Care Act health care subsidies. This is the issue you'll recall that was at the heart of last fall's 6-week government shutdown. Some Republicans joined Democrats to vote the measure through. The bill extends subsidies for Americans getting coverage through the Affordable Care Act. It could help lower premiums that spiked dramatically on January 1st for around 22 million Americans.
Cancel the cuts, lower the costs, save health care. That's our objective.
Obamacare has been a disaster, and I think doubling down on the things that haven't worked isn't the answer.
The legislation now heads to the Senate. Also on Capitol Hill, the Senate advancing a resolution that would limit President Trump's ability to carry out further attacks against Venezuela. Democrats and 5 Republicans held a test vote to advance the War Powers Resolution, ensuring a future vote for final passage. Now, keep in mind here, even if this does pass, it would still need President Trump's signature to become law.
7:18 now on your Friday morning. You know, guys, it's hard to believe that last night it felt like essentially a summer storm, and now we're going to see potentially some snow tomorrow, Mike?
It's a big turnaround here, and I do think we will see snow. But tomorrow night's game, it is not going to be a snow bowl. You might see a couple of flakes coming down, but there might be enough to coat the ground in some spots. The rain came down heavily. Once again, this is following a trend that happened last summer, targeting parts of the city. And the heaviest rainfall in this yellow stripe that isn't that far from I-55, just a little bit south of it in some areas, a little bit north of it in others. Let me zoom in here, and I'm going to use our computer to actually quantify what you're seeing there. So how much is this yellow? Well, let's put it here. Let's put one by Oak Lawn. Let's put one near Orland. Here's the Joliet area. Here's Channahon, and lots of 2 to nearly 3-inch rainfall totals in that narrow corridor, while most of Chicagoland had much less rainfall than that, which is why the flooding was really localized, but it hit in areas where a lot of folks were trying to drive. There is not much rain. I'll show you the radar in a little bit, but let's talk winds because it is still very windy, which is helping to evaporate some of the rain that came down yesterday. We've got a 52-mile-an-hour wind gust at Gary, even stronger at Valparaiso, still 40+ showing up at Midway, but farther west you go, the winds are dying down a little bit, and that's why I think we're going to see an improvement in the conditions here. On radar, there are a couple of scattered showers here and there. We'll put this into motion and zoom out. You can see we have a few sprinkles crossing the area. This goes about as far west as the Rockford area. Another couple hours of sprinkles, and then it's done. In fact, this afternoon we should be drying out and seeing some sunshine. Temperatures, we've already had our high for the day. It was a record 60 degrees, tying the mark set on this date back in 1880. West-northwest winds 18 to 36, with temperatures already doing it, falling into the 40s, but will bounce back. In those areas that have hit the 30s, we're coming back into the 40s this afternoon. Gabriella is going to give us an update now on traffic. I know that Sky Fox had to land because of these very strong winds. What do we see from ground level?
Yeah, and be careful if you're driving that high-profile vehicle because, yeah, that wind is just whipping. Here's a look at the Dan Ryan. We're around 35 minutes right now from 95th to the Burn interchange. Pretty heavy travel time for other expressways, too. Around 45 minutes right now on the Stevenson and the Eisenhower, closer to 40 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. Now, we have 2 new reports. One is a crash over in Joliet. It's US 52 and Rowell Avenue. It's a crash kind of reported at that intersection. Crews are responding it to right now. And then I've told you about some flooding incidents that are being reported as well. It's kind of hard to keep up with all of them now that we're having more people out and about. They are reporting more flooded areas. But let's talk about this one. I believe it's over in the Little Village area. It's 31st and Western. It's a reported flooded viaduct, and 2 vehicles are reportedly stranded. So they're taking care of that. Again, guys, if I'm not mentioning one of your areas, it doesn't mean that you're safe. Please be careful if you are driving around your neighborhoods, headed for your normal morning commute. Maybe you leave yourself a little extra time in case you do run into some of that high-standing water. Natalie.
And we're getting a special visit this morning on this Orange Friday by Staley, the Monster Squad, and the Bears Drumline. They are gearing up for a big performance on the Fox 32 Plaza coming up next.
Fox 30.
we are just as amped up as you are here at Fox Chicago. Playoff football returns to Soldier Field tomorrow night, and Bears mascot Staley is out and about getting fans fired up.
Just one more sleep. All right. Brian Jackson is outside because Staley, he's on our plaza right now, isn't he?
Yeah, we got Staley and a lot of friends out here, you guys. We're getting ready for Bears Packers. We're going to beat down on Green Bay tomorrow in the playoffs. I'm here with Sarah Smith, the VP of Fan Engagement for the Chicago Bears. First of all, that's an amazing title. That's an amazing job. Talk to me about what are the Bears doing to get all the fans in all of Chicago so excited for tomorrow's kickoff?
We are thrilled to be bringing playoff football back to the city of Chicago. So we're going to be stopping around town this morning just to engage with commuters, give out some swag, get some performances underway, and really elevate that energy ahead of tomorrow.
How would you describe, you guys have been doing a little bit of a tour. Your next stop is here at Fox 32. What has the energy been like this morning?
The energy, you can feel it no matter where you are across the city. When the Bears succeed, we really elevate the city. So this is just an all-out party and getting people ready to go, excited for tomorrow.
We're really excited, and we got some super fans here with us as well. We got Michelle and Lena from First and 10 Tailgating. Bears Packers, it doesn't get any better than this. Describe your mindset going into tomorrow.
We get a third chance to remind them that we are still the kings of the North. And so we are going to take this opportunity to just win and win at home. And we got to play it one game at a time, but we're going to win and we're going to move on to the next one. But one game at a time, and good, better, best. We're going to bring the best.
All right. I love your nickname, Honey Bear. How did you get this nickname? And show it to our fans.
It was literally because I discovered we had Honey Bear cheerleaders back in the day. And the last time we had them was when we won the Super Bowl. I'm like, well, there's a supposed curse. We're going to have to reverse that curse somehow. So, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. But, I mean, we are so excited. This is a once and a third time in NFL history opportunity that we are playing our rivals, our biggest rivals, the biggest rivalry in the NFL in the playoffs once more. And it's going to be amazing. It's not going to be like last time. It ain't going to be 2010 or 11. It's going to be right now because we've taken the North and we're not giving it back.
We're never giving it back. Tailgates are always fun.
Absolutely.
How is it going to be tomorrow?
Insane, crazy, enjoyable, family friendly. We're First and 10 Tailgating. You'll find us on Facebook, and we're also joined with some of our folks from Emerging Vets and Players called MVP, and they come out to some of our events, and it's a really great opportunity to give veterans an opportunity to do things within the sports world, and oftentimes they do connect them with player opportunities as well. So we're really happy to have them here with us today, and we're just, man, we are just ready. Like, tailgating's about the food and the drink and the party, but let's be honest, folks, it's really about just remaining the kings of the North and beating the other team. I don't even want to say their name. The other team.
The past the cheese curd.
You're excited too, Staley, right? Yeah. And Staley brought some friends. We got the Bears drum line here as well. Let's beat the Packers.
At Postman Law, we built a team of lawyers.
Welcome back to Good Day Chicago. It's now 7:31.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on this Friday morning. Here are some of today's headlines. The U.S. Supreme Court could issue a ruling on tariffs today. The case focuses on whether the president has the authority to impose tariffs under an emergency law passed nearly 50 years ago. The court may also issue an opinion on the legality of President Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship.
And the man accused of killing former United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is expected in federal court today. This is a pivotal hearing for Luigi Mangione, who's trying to avoid the death penalty. Mangione has pleaded not guilty.
The Senate is advancing a resolution that would limit President Trump's ability to carry out further attacks against Venezuela. Democrats and 5 Republicans held a test vote to advance the War Powers Resolution, ensuring a future vote for final passage. Even if it passes, it would need President Trump's signature to become law.
It has been nearly a week since a Bronzeville woman went missing.
Today, volunteers are being called to the lakefront to try to find her. Roseanne has more on the search for Linda Brown. Roseanne.
Well, her family says police did locate her car at 35th Street and Lake Park Avenue. And the biggest clue yet, and it was video of her parking the car, getting out, and reportedly walking across the 31st Street beach, never to return to that car. So zones have been created today along Lakeshore Drive, Burnham Park, and the lakefront to search. The special education teacher from Healy Elementary in Bridgeport has been missing 6 days. Her husband said they watched a movie together Friday night, and Saturday morning she was gone when he woke up, but he thought she was at her acupuncture appointment. She never made it to that appointment, though, and never came home. Her husband said while she's faced mental health challenges, she's just never taken off like this before. Now, Healy parents told us they were worried sick.
It's sad. I hope they find her soon. I did see the news, and I feel bad for her family and the husband. I just can't imagine what he's going through. So I hope they find her soon, and she comes back, because I think it's taking a toll on the kids too. She was a wonderful teacher.
Right. Yes, that man had a child who knew Miss Brown well. Again, this morning, volunteers are being asked to come here to the lakefront and participate in search. It starts at 8 o'clock. I will tell you it is very cold and windy, but hopefully they get a lot of people out here looking for clues. They're asking people to take pictures or video of anything that looks out of the ordinary. Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
I hope they have a good showing and they get some answers. Thank you, Roseanne, for that report.
Developing this morning, another shooting involving federal immigration officers, this time in Portland, Oregon. The Department of Homeland Security says Customs and Border Protection agents were attempting to stop a vehicle allegedly carrying undocumented immigrants with suspected gang ties. And that is when the agency claims the pair tried to run agents over. They were both shot. They were both in the hospital. The governor there of Oregon is demanding answers.
And I am aligned with the mayor. The priority right now is a full, completed investigation, not more detentions.
This comes as protests in Minneapolis grow after an ICE agent shot and killed a woman by the name of Renee Good. Agents say she was trying to run them over.
Meanwhile, we're learning the ICE agent accused of shooting Good was involved in another incident just months ago. Officer Jonathan Ross was dragged 50 yards in Bloomington, Minnesota back in June of last year. Now, court documents say Ross was part of a team trying to arrest a man who was in the United States illegally. Ross broke a window and reached into the car to try to open the door. When the driver sped off, Ross was hospitalized. A federal judge in Chicago is delaying a decision to dismiss a lawsuit limiting federal agents' use of force following that shooting in Minneapolis. The Chicago Sun-Times reports Judge Sarah Ellis was expected to end the case, but changed her mind, telling lawyers she wants to do more research before making a decision. The next hearing on the case is set for January 22nd.
The Illinois governor says that it will this particular bill that he just signed will help keep residents' energy bills low by making adjustments to state programs. It also gives the state time to reject any decision to raise rates. Take a listen.
It was important to us. There's no time to waste in the race to make electric bills more affordable. CRGA puts everyone in the game, truly all of us in the game, to battle against higher energy prices.
This new legislation allows for the building of new nuclear plants in Illinois, but also sustainable energy sources like wind and solar, in addition to the nuclear plants. Other lawmakers, though, say residents can eventually expect to save hundreds of dollars on their utility bills with this new legislation in place.
President Trump is ordering Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to start buying bonds backed by mortgages. Trump says the $200 billion sale will help make housing more affordable. In the past, the Federal Reserve has purchased mortgage bonds in an effort to lower rates, but the executive branch cannot order the central bank to do it.
Let's talk about the weather. Last night was crazy, and look at this video. The heavy rain brought flooding issues for drivers. This is in Cicero, at Cicero and 31st. Cars were stuck in the high water, had to be pushed out or towed out. And at Cicero Avenue and 55th, high winds knocked down a traffic light, landing on a car, cracking the windshield. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. And let's check out the mess on the Dan Ryan. This is video on the southbound side at 31st. Water flooded the local lanes. Cars had to slowly drive through. And thank goodness that has tapered off this morning, Mike.
Goodness.
But now we're seeing some high winds.
Yeah, very, very strong winds out there. Old Glory is definitely getting whipped out there. The wind's coming in almost straight out of the west. And we will see the winds die back slowly today. It's going to be a windy day all day long. But these 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts that we've seen earlier this morning are soon to be a thing of the past. But these are the current temperatures. 60 was our number at midnight. That was a record-tying high. Now, 42 at O'Hare, 41 at Waukegan, Joliet, 44. Northwest Indiana, you started the day close to 60. You've dropped into the 40s as well, 43 at Valparaiso and Merrillville. And a few spots dipped into the 30s. If you have, temperatures are going to bounce back into the mid-40s this afternoon because it will become sunny. Now, there are a few light rain showers out there, and the winds are still quite strong. We've got a 52-mile-an-hour gust being reported this hour at Gary's Airport, but the winds, generally speaking, as you go west, are diminishing, so I don't expect the winds to get any stronger than they are right now. There's a little bit of light rain sneaking through. This is the end of this little storm system. That'll be with us for another couple of hours, and then the rain moves away, and the cloud cover is going to break up as well. Here you look at our futurecast, and you can see by the afternoon, hey, sun's coming out. And ordinarily, if it were sunny and in the 40s, like it will be this afternoon, you'd be out enjoying it. Problem is, it's going to be still very windy out there, and it may kind of impede your plans. Then we get to tomorrow. Instead of rain, there may be some rain mixed in, but most of what falls tomorrow is snow. Not a lot, maybe enough to coat the ground, maybe cover a roof here or there, but it will be snowing. I think the snow is out of here, though, in time for the Bears game. Could there be a passing flurry or a flake or two? Sure. But it is not going to be Snow Globe City for the Bears-Packers game at Soldier Field, but definitely turning colder as we get towards Sunday. 60, that was our high. It tied the record for the day. Now we're settling down into the 40s. A lot of cloud cover, a few showers this morning, but becoming partly sunny this afternoon. Let's look at some fine photos, including this one from Jan Eigenfeld, taking a picture there along the river in Geneva. Sky very pretty. Love the Fox River there. That is a pretty shot, and maybe a little bit of ice there on the river. And our second photo, this one from J.T. Settles, giving us a nice look there in the chain of lakes at Pistake Lake. This was the sunrise there amid some high and mid-level cloud cover. Pretty picture there, J.T. And lastly, but not leastly, from my buddy Al Heiss. He works over there at the Naval Station Great Lakes, and pretty much every morning, if there's any kind of color, he's taking pictures, and that was a spectacular sunrise yesterday. I saw that picture posted on Facebook. I said, Al, I'll pay you nothing if you let me share that one. He said, fine, go ahead and do it. Good pictures there. Thank you all for sharing. And those aren't the only pictures we have for you. How about a celebration of Bears fandom? Keep those pics coming, everybody. We will share them on Orange Fridays as we gear up for the playoffs. Ooh, that's a cool shot there. We'll be right back after this.
These are the moments.
7:43. In a major vote, the U.S. House passes a bill to extend the Affordable Care Act healthcare subsidies. Now, this is the issue that was at the heart of last fall's 6-week government shutdown. Some Republicans joined Democrats to vote the measure through. The bill extends those subsidies for Americans getting coverage through the Affordable Care Act, and it could help lower premiums that spiked dramatically on January 1st for around 22 million Americans.
Cancel the cuts, lower the costs, save health care. That's our objective.
Obamacare has been a disaster, and I think doubling down on the things that haven't worked isn't the answer.
Here's the thing, though. So it passed the House, but the legislation now heads to the Senate. Also on Capitol Hill, the Senate advancing a resolution that would limit President Trump's ability to carry out further attacks against Venezuela. Democrats and 5 Republicans held a test vote to advance the War Powers Resolution, ensuring a future vote for final passage. Now, even if it passes, it would still need President Trump's signature to become law.
Illinois Congresswoman Robin Kelly is placing the blame for the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis squarely at the feet of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Kelly is authoring articles of impeachment against Noem, calling her incompetent and a liar. She accuses Noem of sending immigration agents to Minneapolis and other Democratic cities like Chicago without the proper training.
They are absolutely not making cities safer. They're causing, problems in the city. They're making cities more unsafe. People have lost their lives. People have been injured, having to go to the hospital. That's, absolutely ridiculous. She said they're going after murderers and rapists, and really, how many murderers and rapists have they kept?
Kelly, who is running to succeed Senator Dick Durbin, says she is working on getting co-sponsors and that the articles of impeachment against Kristi Noem will be filed as early as today.
The U.S. Supreme Court announced, that it will be issuing rulings for the new year starting today, and tariffs could be at the top of that agenda. The justices could reveal their ruling on whether the president has the authority to impose tariffs under an emergency law that was passed nearly 50 years ago. Legal and trade analysts say if the court rules that he does not have that power, the U.S. may be forced to refund more than $133.5 billion in tariffs to importers.
Anti-government protests are spreading in Iran. Human rights organizations say demonstrations are happening in more than 100 cities. More than 2,000 protesters have been arrested and dozens have been killed. Internet service was cut off last night as leadership tried to put an end to the growing protests.
A New York judge has set a tentative March 3rd retrial date for Harvey Weinstein on the third-degree rape charge involving Jessica Mann. In court yesterday, Weinstein's defense said he would consider pleading guilty, but he personally told the court he has never attacked anyone. A judge also denied Weinstein's bid to overturn his lone conviction at his previous trial.
The man accused of killing former United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is expected in federal court today. It's a pivotal hearing for Luigi Mangione, who's trying to avoid the death penalty. His lawyers will argue authorities prejudiced his case by turning his arrest into a spectacle. Mangione has pleaded not guilty to federal and state murder charges.
It is now 7:47 on this Friday morning, and here's some of the top stories we're following for you.
There's been another shooting involving federal immigration officers, this time in Portland, Oregon. The Department of Homeland Security says Customs and Border Protection agents were stopping a vehicle allegedly carrying undocumented immigrants with suspected gang ties. That's when the agency claims the pair tried to run agents over. They were both shot and are in the hospital. This comes as protests in Minneapolis grow after an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good. Agents say she was trying to run them over.
Boy, that weather last night. Torrential rain created a huge mess for drivers across Chicago. This is what it looked like on the Dan Ryan. Came down fast, leaving many drivers with no other option but to go right through it. The flooding was widespread, affecting the city and the suburbs.
The Bears are getting ready to meet the Packers in the playoffs tomorrow night. You can watch that game at 7 p.m. right here on Fox Chicago. Our coverage begins with Bears Game Day Live at 12:30. And then stay with us on Fox Chicago because after the game, we've got full post-game coverage on your home of the Bears.
And let's take you outside this morning. It is not too shabby out there temperature-wise. It is super duper gusty, and you can probably hear that if you're inside your house. Mike, tell us about this.
Very strong winds. The rain, the heavy rain is out of here, but we have a few light sprinkles out there to deal with for another couple of hours. You see Old Glory there pointing due east because the winds are blowing out of the west. One of the highlights that we ran in that Bears-Packers piece there, if I see number 9, it was Christian Watson, running across the middle uncovered, I'm going to throw something at my TV. Just saying.
You've been warned.
I've been warned. Get out there and cover up Jalen Johnson. All right, what we've got for the game tomorrow night, much colder weather, but by the January standards, this isn't that bad. It's also not going to be a snow fest out there. Could there be a snow shower at some point, especially early? Yes. Is it going to cover the field? No, but temperature's on the way down. And it's going to be rather blustery out there. Obviously, that could affect the passing and kicking games. The winds will not be as strong as what they are right now, but it will be rather breezy. Light rain falling at O'Hare. You know what else is falling? The temperature. 60 degrees at midnight, a record-tying high today, tying the record set back in 1880. We have a west-southwest wind. The 10-minute average is 22 miles per hour, and there's actually a wind chill of 33. So in terms of how temperatures felt about 6 hours ago, it's about a 30-degree difference. 43 at Midway, the current temperature, 38 in DeKalb, 45 at Gary, 52 at Michigan City. Kiss those 50s goodbye. We still have 50-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts being reported this hour at Gary and Valparaiso. But the farther west you go, the winds, while not gone, are a little bit more tolerable, kind of in that 15 to 25-mile-an-hour range. And there you see the last little dregs of this system working its way through Chicagoland. A couple of sprinkles, that's going to be it here this morning. Then this afternoon, I think we're going to see a lot of sunshine. And if we could just get the winds to die down more, it would actually be kind of pleasant out there with temperatures getting back into the 40s. The 60s and 50s are gone, but at least it's not super cold. 32 tonight, that's the normal high this time of year. Partly to mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, yeah, it's going to look a little bit more wintry with snow falling, maybe enough to cover the ground, but the ground's been so warm lately, I can't foresee a major accumulation out of this thing, and there may be a little rain mixed in. Colder days Sunday, we back up into the 40s Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday night and Wednesday, some rain changing over to some light snow as temperatures get colder at the end of next week. Gabriella?
You know, Mike, just a reminder for people as we go through some drive times quickly that there are a lot of spots that have flooding or high standing water, and most of them are off the expressway. So if you're riding around your neighborhood, you think you're used to your morning commute, just be ready and leave yourself some extra time just in case. Let's go over some of these drive times if you are headed into the city. 35 minutes right now on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. If you're headed back to the airport, I'm going to call it around the same 30 minutes to O'Hare. 40 minutes on the Eisenhower from Route 390 to the old post office. 35 minutes on the Stevenson. Also 35 minutes on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn interchange. Doesn't look like we have any accidents to report on the Dan Ryan, just extra heavy as you get past that Indiana tollway. So just be ready for that. Now,
there's a recall this morning for car seats from a popular baby gear brand. Evenflo issued a recall for nearly 75,000 of its all-for-one 4-in-1 convertible car seat. The affected products were manufactured between January 2022 and June 2024. A National Highway Traffic Safety Administration report says there are concerns the car seat may shift positions when it's rear-facing. Evenflo says there have been no reports of injuries. Company says you don't have to return the seats. The seats are, quote, safe to continue using in the meantime. But if it is rear-facing, make sure that no one puts their fingers in the recline mechanism. That seems to be the issue. Letters will be mailed to affected owners toward the end of the month, offering a free replacement.
Johnson & Johnson says it has agreed to a deal with the Trump administration to lower drug prices and increase access to common prescriptions. The deal will also exempt the company's drugs from tariffs. The lower cost will be applied to drugs offered in the Medicaid program, as well as the new direct-to-patient platform dubbed Trump RX.
Well, folks at Disneyland got a ride they were not expecting. Fire crews in Anaheim had to save stuck monorail passengers. About 60 passengers were stuck on the Disneyland monorail after it lost power last night. No other disruptions were reported at the park. Disneyland says that monorail spans about 2.5 miles across the park. It usually runs every 10 minutes when it is not stuck.
Oh, yeah, they have a whole system there, huh? Okay, let's talk about football. The Bears and Packers Bears will meet in the playoffs tomorrow night. Just one more sleep for just a third time in history.
It's also their third meeting in just over 30 days. They've had a lot of interaction together. Several Packers players have made it known that they wanted to play the Bears in the playoffs. They're already talking smack. Packers wide receiver Christian Watson said they have a chance to end the Bears season, and that means a lot. But Bears wide receiver DJ Moore had this to say.
They always chirping. It's always like some talking going on somewhere, somehow, during the game, before the game, always. And, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the rivalry, it speaks for itself.
For one couple now living in Wisconsin, it is a house divided on Saturday night.
There's going to be some other houses, too, probably. All right, Brett Yancey spoke with each about how they make this work.
Somehow, Nick and Marie Kuhn make it work. They're going to be here, but in spirit, because they're running their own bar and restaurant in Wisconsin. And even though they have different allegiances when it comes to their football team, there's one thing they agree on. This season feels different.
We settled on this location, Cochrane, little tiny town across the river.
I see there's a little bit of Chicago and a little bit of Wisconsin here.
We have fantastic hand-dipped cheese curds, but we threw in a little Chicago. We serve jardiniere.
One thing we like to do is on game days for Bears Packer games is we'll do Chicago dogs.
This is Nick and Marie Kuhn, owners of the North End Pub and Grill, where you'll see both Bears and Packers stuff inside. And Nick, you grew up on the northwest side of Chicago. Had you ever dated a Packers fan, let alone think about marrying a Packers fan?
No, never. No, never even crossed my mind.
What'd your family think of that?
There were some questions. As cool as they thought she was, that was one of the, that was their only red flag.
We got married in 2009.
Right before 2010, 2011.
Then we opened our business in 2010, which was also the same season of the Packers Super Bowl.
That was a tough one. I was a huge Cutler fan. I was, again, one of 3 or 4 Bears fans in the area. It was pretty tough having to deal with that for the first season in business.
It's always been a little bit easier to be a Packer fan. And I've said, I don't really know anything different.
Well, Nick, last game, we all saw the outcome here. How are you feeling after that catch from DJ Moore in the end zone?
I stayed up pretty late enjoying it. It was fun. I actually left and went home at halftime because I couldn't be at the restaurant anymore. So I took myself out of here. But I did, after the game, drove over to a buddy's house. They were outside having a bonfire watching the game. I got to gloat a little bit for once.
The Packers have the all-time series. Recent history has all been Packers. Are you feeling that things are different, though, this season?
It definitely has a different feel. The Bears have a great team.
I think hopefully this is it, and this should hopefully be the turnaround we've all been looking for.
How old is your son now?
He's 11.
What team does he cheer for?
He really has chose to cheer for anybody but the Packers. If he chose Bears Packers, he's cheering for the Bears.
So how do you all make it work?
Well, I just think you need some patience with each other. I think a little separation is okay.
Yeah, be fair.
Be fair. Be nice.
And I'm not saying you have to be modest by any means, but just be fair.
And just a reminder, you can watch Bears Packers right here on Fox Chicago. Of course, we want to see your pictures and stories. If you're in a house divided, be sure to send them right to Fox Chicago. Outside Soldier Field, Brett Pagaski, Fox Chicago.
Great story. You could watch the Packers and Bears game on Saturday at 7 p.m. right here on Fox Chicago. Our coverage begins with Bears Game Day Live at 12:30. And you could stay with us on Fox Chicago because after the game, we've also got some full post-game coverage on your home with the Bears.
And we've got plenty more Good Day Chicago ahead. Here's a look at what's coming up at 8 and 9. Keep it right here.
Start the new year.
New data shows more people signed up for unemployment benefits in the week ending January 3rd. About 208,000 people signed up for those benefits. That is below what economists were predicting. The number of those remaining on benefits continuing claims also rose in the week ending December 27th to 1.91 million.
Changes at the post office could have an impact